Hey y'all, hey, we back for another review of SISTAS on BET. Yes, I'm late and running behind schedule, but such is life, so let's just get right into it. We on season 2, episode 16, entitled Picture Perfect. And we are in the wake of Fatima's friend Angela, which also makes an appearance on the Zatima franchise. She's showing her the picture that appears as if Karen and Zach were kissing. And she asked her, like, hey, how did you get the picture? So she's kind of flabbergasted at the fact that he would do something like this yet again, the first time she allowed him to go do something by himself, basically. And she tells him, hey, a friend of mine sent the picture to me. And Fatima's trying to figure out, like, why would she send you the picture? Like, it just seems kind of sketch, why the picture would why she would send it to Angela, for Angela to send it to her. Anyway, and she's trying to vet the source to be sure, like, it wasn't some sort of setup, doing her due diligence to give Zach the benefit of the doubt, but it ain't looking good. She's gonna wait it out and see if he tells her, and Angela tells her, like, listen, well, Fatima claims she really not with all that fighting. So says she, but if you watch the Zatima franchise, you realize that might be further away from the truth, but we'll let her live in this little particular delusion. Her friend reminds her, like, listen, the more you wait on him to come to you and tell you the truth, the worse, the more angry you're going to get. And that proves to be true later on in the episode. But anyway, and then Angela goes on. Angela is weird. She's the weird friend in both this season and the Zatima franchise, because she makes it a point to always give Fatima the worst of the worst news, or to remind her of everything bad that's happened basically in life. And then she goes on in this instance to add insult to injury by mentioning, hey, you know what be happening when every time they go in that back room, like, basically, like, to dig the knife in and further confirm that Zach really ain't ish, which I think Angela believes, but she won't say to Fatima. And I say that because in the Zatima franchise, she has a history of doing the same thing. Oh, well, do you think our friend will lie on her? Or, just type of anything to sway, the seesaw away from Zach. I mean, which is fair. Like, if it's your homegirl, you're going to do anything to keep them from being hurt. But it always has a little bit of malice undertone to it to me, and I'm not quite sure why. Moving on. Sabrina's at the office and she's looking for Andy in a panic. But before she finds her, Robin is in there talking to her and tells her he talked to the loan shark and he'll help him for a mere 20% interest. And I had to do the Kevin Hart damn, because 20%, like, for 20%, I might as well get a title loan. You might as well remortgage your house. 20% interest? You have better luck doing something else. And maybe he needs the liquid capital quickly, because I don't remember, how soon this meeting or whatever this is going to come up. But yeah. And so and we also found out that the loan shark has already sent him the money. He's also not interested in signing a contract, which means he gonna break your legs if you don't get your money back. Like, he gonna get it back in blood, essentially. So I don't know if that's a risk I was willing to take, but it's not me. So we're just gonna, let Robin deal with that. And then Andy and Robin are having a laugh at anticipating on seeing Gary and Hayden's face when they put the money up, because they think they have him leveraged and pushed against the wall. He's not going to be able to. But Robin has taken the initiative to call a meeting with Gary and his partner, or whoever the other person is, tomorrow. And then he goes on to, try to sneak in there with Andy and say, hey, can I see you tonight? And she's like, thanks, but no thanks. And he's like, well, you don't miss me? And she was like, no. I mean, and then she goes on to say, yeah, it was a joke. I do miss you, but you embarrass me. Like, once you burn me, I'm done. And it sounds compelling, but I feel like Gary has burned you more times than a parent telling a child don't touch shit because it's hot. But if you say you get burned, maybe you've learned that lesson from Gary, like, hey, you only burn me one time before I need to move on. Maybe that's the takeaway here, but in practical application, I highly doubt it. But we'll let you, live in your delusion. Anyway, she tells him, like, me and Gary aren't together. He's just around. And whatever. He tells her that he's waiting for the judge to call him back to, decide on immediate future to decide whether he's going to get bail, whatever that amount is, and how that's going to go. All right. Sabrina finally goes into Andy, and Andy assures her, like this, I'm doing everything I can for Maurice. And she's like, and Sabrina is in an uproar because she told him to call her back. So she's trying to get some kind of answer or something before Maurice calls her back. That's fine. You told him to call you back. But if you don't have an answer by the time he calls back, there's nothing you can do. The outcome is in somebody else's hand, basically, by way of Andy or the judge or whoever's going to be able to do something for him or not. So, I mean, I understand your angst, but this scene will kind of make it clear to you that wasted energy. But and then she tells Andy, like, hey, I at least want him to know that somebody is trying. And she also doesn't want him to get weary, which she also has a vested interest in him not getting weary and diming her out or just taking the prosecutor's offer, because it may look to him as if nobody's doing anything for him when they've done everything for Sabrina, which I don't know really how you could ask too much of people that are not your friends. But again, I ain't been in a situation quite, so I can't really say what you should and should not be upset about, but those are not your people. And again, this scene will solidify that for you. All right. In that moment, he calls Sabrina, and he's being real smug. Like, she's like, how are you doing? It's just one of those blanket statements that people ask. You don't really, I don't say you really care. You don't really know. But it's one of those just automatic responses that people has. And he's being real smug, like, oh, I'm at the beach. Why would you ask me such a dumb question? Like being Maurice's regular self, but with just a little more sass on the end, as if they're the reason he's in there, as if they did him wrong. All right. And he asks, how much was Sabrina's bail? And Andy doesn't directly answer the question, because that's going to suck all the hope out of him. And that's going to make Sabrina feel even bad, because nobody's going to be able to return the favor for him, potentially. But at the end of this episode, we'll also see that there may or may not be a ram in the bush to help, what's his face? Maurice, but we'll see. All right. He tells her that he ain't got no funds, like he ain't got the money for whatever the bail is. She recommends a bail bondsman for him. And again, that requires money, collateral, something. I don't know about no bail bondsman, so I'm assuming it requires money. And he doesn't have that either. So Andy decides to get in his ass, because he's being real smug, he's being real mean, he's being real short to Sabrina. And he reminds her, like, listen, you are Sabrina's friend. Like, it was like Andy couldn't compose herself for another second. And she's like, listen, you are Sabrina's friend. You are Sabrina's friend and not mine. So all this better and y'all better, like, it's giving very much commands. It's giving very much orders and directions. And what I need you to do is pipe down, because again, it ain't no better. You need to act like you appreciate what we're doing, because everything we're doing for you is off the strength of Sabrina. Because again, Sabrina is our friend. We just know you just guilty by association, by way of you being in jail and by way of you being Sabrina's friend. Like, you just happen to be here. We don't owe you no loyalty, so bring it down, basically. And so he apologizes and tells him that he's just frustrated with the process, and he takes ownership for his role in letting Q stay there. His attitude has changed very quickly. So that's good. And so we're able to get him off the phone. And then Andy goes to tell Sabrina that her bail was millions. If I'm not mistaken, $1.5 million, cash only. No bond, no bails, bondsman, none of that. And she put up everything, and Robert helped out with the rest. So Maurice may not have the same luxury. So when and if he does get a bond, I ain't got it. Robin ain't got it. So it ain't looking good. Like, the honest truth, like, it ain't looking good for Maurice. So if his bond is the same, there may be nothing else that I can do for him in particular. And Sabrina proclaims that she understands, but it's a hard pill to swallow. Like, listen, basically y'all in this together, but I don't know, like, you have not an upper hand, but you have more resources to your availability by way of your friends or whoever's willing to help you. Maurice doesn't have that luxury. Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles, and that's horribly unfortunate for him, but that's the card that's dealt. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know what alternatives. Sabrina has one by the end of the episode, but for me, I wouldn't have no alternative, because shit, I ain't got 1.5 to put up either. And if I did, would I be willing to put it up for somebody who put themselves in a situation, kind of, sort of, a little bit? I don't know. This is a conversation we can have in the comments. All right. Hayden calls Gary, and he over here bragging like a little schoolgirl, talking about he found the one, he found the one. Granted, I think you probably only met this lady yesterday, and she put it on you last night, and now your eyes are just got hearts and clouds in them, and it's just pretty disgusting. Gary's really not buying it, and like he says, like, you just met her, and Gary's like, okay, cool, whatever. All Gary really wants to talk about is the business that they're coming up by way of trying to force Robin out of the company. Hayden tells Gary that he saw Andy in the office with Robin, and Gary's not really threatened because they think that they're about to push him out. So, him talking to Andy is not a threat anymore because he's not going to be a factor in a little bit. So you think. And he actually hopes that Andy told him about the takeover so he knows that it's him. So when when Robin packs his stuff and walks out of that office, he knows that it's Gary. Gary is the one who pushed him out. Which hopefully is not going to turn out to be the case. So that's going to be the gimme gotcha for your ass when it does come to that point. But these two people got the biggest ego I've ever seen on a daytime soap opera. Now, this ain't a daytime soap opera, but that's what I call it. On TV at this point, but we'll go along with it. They don't know he can come up with the money. They don't know that he's already come up with the money. And Gary tells Hayden that they have a meeting tomorrow, and Hayden tells Gary that he has some guy watching Zach's every move, and Gary is just dumbfounded at how Hayden is acting over Fatima, because him coming for Zach, it's because he still feels as if he is owed something from Fatima, and he also feels like she belongs to him by some stretch of his damn imagination, right? And even though these two summer bastards are cut from the same cloth, Gary seems to think his situation is different from Hayden's because he uses $5 and $10 words. What you talking about? Okay. In this scene, Gary goes to tell Hayden, don't you think that's a bit excessive over, that girl, she don't belong to you or whatever, you stalking her, whatever, big words that he uses. And Gary tells him, like, you do know that you were doing the same thing with Andy, which, correct, you may have somebody watching Zach and watching Fatima and doing all these other things, but you also bought Andy a condo just so you could use your spy binoculars to look through her window, and all these other things, and to add insult to injury, to attempt to push her boss out so you could maybe be her boss or further keep tabs on her. So just because you're doing it on $1 million level don't mean you know better. Just in case anybody's asking or anybody was wondering, Mr. Gary. But we're going to move right along. We're at the salon, and Pam tells Karen that it's time for her to go. And she's like, listen, Karen don't want to leave. And Pam tells her, like, listen, I'm about to call your mama. And Aaron was like, you ain't got to do that. He pops up to escort her home. Aaron wants to take her to dinner, you name the place, and now she's just so ready to go. She didn't put up much resistance. Like I said, I think maybe last review, it seems as if it's giving runner-up now that she's so invested in Aaron, and now that she maybe realizes and has been able to solidify that Zach is definitely moving on, it's giving, oh, now I'll throw you a bone to Aaron, and I don't like that. I don't really appreciate that, but hell, he likes it. I love it. I guess we'll go with that. He seems to be happy at the thought that she's now all in. So we'll also be excited for it. All right. Meanwhile, she goes back inside and she goes to the office and she calls Andy. She needs to drop them papers off by Zach. So she's going to bring them off. She's going to bring them by after she get out of dinner with Aaron. Okay. So she comes into Fatima's office because she's been calling her and she ain't answering. Well, Fatima got a lot on her mind. She just keeps looking and obsessing over this picture that Angela brought to her, sent to her, however she communicated it to her. And of course, Andy insists on knowing what's wrong, what's the problem, something ain't right with you. And she's like, listen, if I tell you what's going on, do not say nothing to Karen. Explicit instructions. Keep your mouth shut. Now, we know that that's going to be an ultimate challenge for Andy, but we're gonna hope that she does. So Fatima shows her the photo, and she also, so now she's been simmering in this thing all day, because you have this information first thing smoking from your homegirl Angela, and you ain't heard from Zach all day. You got this pre-existing history that Karen and Zach got going on. You got all these people telling her you need to confront him. So it's festering. It's building up at this point. She ain't talked to him all day, so now she is filming. And so Andy sends her home like, listen, don't wait on him to tell you. You go to him, you talk to him, confront him, or whatever it is that you need to do, so you can go ahead and get this off your mind, and we could just deal with whatever comes next. So that is where she is off to. In the meantime, Robin shows up, and, timidly Robin tells her, hey, Maurice got bail. Yay, congratulations. However, immediately he's going to take the wind out of them sails by telling Andy that his bond is exactly the same as Sabrina's, $1.5 million. Okay? And, that's it. Just the delivery of the information. It's $1.5 million. I ain't got it. There's the information. He also wants to take her out to dinner, and the answer is still no. Like I said earlier, when she's burned, she's out, except when it comes to Gary, I guess. All right, Sabrina is home, and Andy calls her with the update. Yes, bail. Yes, we have bail, but it is $1.5 million, and it's cash only. Andy ain't got it, and nobody else that Andy knows or could consider has it right now. Sabrina says she has about $87K, but that ain't enough. Side note, for me, this gave like big money problems. Tell you what I'm talking about, because she said I got $87,000 to contribute to get my friend out of jail. Andy has already put up. I'm assuming Andy put up $1 million. I don't know. Maybe she put up $500,000, because I know Robin put up the $1 million. So let's just assume Andy put up the $5 million, and Robin put up the $1 million. You got $1 million. You got $500,000, and you got $87K. And your friends are willing to put this up, on your behalf, because they believe in you so wholeheartedly. They're gonna get you out of. They're gonna fight to get you out of prison. So, and that doesn't cover legal costs, court costs, any of that, which Andy's probably going to assist with that being her friend. But I said all of that to say that these are big money problems. And then to add to that, Sabrina is a bank manager. $87,000 for a bank manager seems like a hefty salary, or maybe that would possibly be your yearly salary, not just sitting around, so that could look suspicious with you being out on bail, for one. So you need to consider that when attempting to put that money up. That could be considered some of the stolen money or the bank robbery money, possibly. Anyway, all that to say, that's big money problems. Like to even have the option to put up that amount of money for your friend. I just wanted to say that. Sabrina thinks that she might know somebody. She doesn't tell Andy who, but she tells her that she might know somebody. So she's going to call her. She thinks that Bayou, the restaurant owner that beat Calvin's ass not that long ago when they was on a date, all he really want to do is see her and check her. And check on her, because he hadn't been able to get in touch with her for a while. So now she's going to invite him over, because she needs to ask for this favor. And that's going to take a lot of ego, pushing that ego down, because you was blowing him off for quite some time. You have gotten back into feeling Calvin. So now you got to ask this man for $1 million favor. That should be interesting. Anyway. At the airport, Q is still in Danny's face, asking to come over. And like I said, I'm just going to assume she doesn't know his connection to Sabrina and Maurice. I'm just going to assume she just knows that they're in jail. She don't know him, or she don't have a face to go with the name. And she was like, listen, what I'm going to do with you and this ankle monitor? I know something ain't right, but this not it. And then he asked, can I get a ride to the train station? And she was like, it's here. It's upstairs in the airport. Like, what are you trying to get at? Like, you landed on thick. What is it that you want from me? And he wants to get to know her. He got the good ganja, and he wants to let's get together, let's hang out. And she's just not having it. And I just can't figure out what's your end goal when it comes to Danny. Like, do you know Danny's connection to Maurice and Sabrina? Or you just trying to come up on your next victim, and it just happens to be Danny because you got Zach's old job at the airport? What you got going on? Danny calls Sabrina, and she's going to head over there after Bayou leaves. And while that's fine and well, Danny asks her a legitimate question, like, do you know him well enough to ask for $1.5 million? Danny be asking the questions that need to be asked. Do you know this man well enough to ask for this large sum of money? And she was like, listen, I'm going to just try and we'll see what happens. I'll call you and let you know to come over when he gone. And we're going to go up from there. All right. Prosecutor goes to Maurice and lets him know that, you got bail, but you still got to come up with $1.5 million. And where you going to get it from? You going to get it from your bank robbery money that you got saved up somewhere? And Maurice is basically just telling him, kiss my ass, go to hell, get out my face. All things that I would just say too, because get out my face. And of course, as soon as the man walks away, Maurice just folds and he's like, shit, how am I going to come up with this $1.5 million? But he saved the face long enough for the prosecutor to go on about his business, which makes it, as I would have too, because you don't need to know I ain't got it. You just mind your damn business. All right. Fatima is getting more and more pissed as she's sitting in the car. I mean, fuming. She ain't even gone in the house yet. She's also still not sure that this wasn't a setup from Karen. And I could see how you could see that, because if you look at the interaction, she goes from hating him to relinquishing him from all responsibilities, to giving him like a hug and a little cheek kiss as to solidify that everything is okay. So I could see how the escalation when you had all this attitude, all these, I don't know, weeks or months or however long it's been in TV land. How do we get here? So it could be a setup. We don't know yet. Anyway, she gets in the house and he's washing dishes, just oblivious and unaware of what the hell is about to happen. And basically he's talking to her, trying to interact, and she's just death staring like, so you got about 2 more seconds to tell me. Mind you, this is an unspoken time limit that has been put on this person that has probably not even done what you presume that they did to you. Okay? All right. So he never gets around to admitting, because from my perspective, there's nothing to admit. Anyway, she finally shows him the photo and he's just looking like basically like, damn, I'm in trouble again. Like nothing happened, but I'm in trouble again. And that closes out the episode. So next episode, he runs down on the girls at the salons. He's going to try to run down on Karen, which I guess is fair. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. It depends on how he handles the situation, because Karen didn't take the picture, so you can't be mad at Karen. However, if Karen had kept her lips to herself or kept them to Aaron, we wouldn't be in the situation. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Also, in the next episode, Maurice is not going to be able to take it much longer, so they're going to have to hurry up and figure out a way to get him out of jail. And Andy agrees to have a drink with Robin, so we'll see what that leads to. Anyway, that has been Season 5, Episode 15. Let me know what you think about the episode. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.